Kia ora, good evening, and welcome to the 76th episode of the Huddy Hui. And I thought I'd start off with a bit of a moan. Who puts the Hurricanes game on the same time as club rugby? Well, it's got something to do about the lights, but there's not much we can do about that. But we'll be going to club rugby instead. But joining us on Huddy Hui tonight is a young man who has a very promising career ahead of him. He plays for the mighty Oriental-Rongotai Premier's side, and his name is Ronaldo Seumanufagai. Ronaldo, many thanks for coming on the Huddy Hui. I just want to start off with last week's game against Parramatta Plympton. You were trailing 21-5 at half-time. You ended up only losing 21-17. What was the turnaround at half-time?
Thanks for having me. It was a strong start from Paraplum. We weren't able to. We had the ball a lot in the first half. We weren't able to execute in our set pieces, and when we had the ball, and Paraplum were able to capitalize on that and from our mistakes in the first half. And at half time, our coaches were talking about just keeping it simple and just work our way through the forwards, and then hopefully get out to the backs with spaces opening up. We were able to score first in the second half. And I think credit to Paraplum, they were quite relentless, holding on until the final whistle. But yeah, in the last, we got a bit of momentum in the second half, but yeah, we just weren't able to finish off the game strong.
And I believe you got a try as well. Where did you, what facet of the game did you score that try? And was it the scrum or general play?
I think that wasn't me.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah, must have been our captain, Pinelli. He scored a double, and wasn't sure who scored. Oh, and our second five, Skibby Butler, he scored the third try.
Okay, so we might have to get Club Rugby to update that one. So anyway, and first time in modern era of Club Rugby, we go back to 2015. That's the first time Parramatta Plympton have beaten you guys, and we're trying to go through the records. We reckon the last time was the 1980s. Let's talk about Ngāti Taua Domain. How did you find it playing out at Ngāti Taua Domain? Because it's quite a intense atmosphere with the crowd right by the pitch there.
Yeah, it's always tough going out to Ngāti Taua Domain. Got a big crowd, especially on the clubroom side of the field. Tend to be a lot of supporters from their side, just stacking up on that side. And yeah, you can hear the supporters, especially in that last 10, when they seemed that they were almost, so they knew that they were going to get the dub, and they were just getting louder and louder as the game went on. But yeah, it's always tough playing those guys out there.
Have Oris found a goal kicker this season in club rugby, because they sort of missed one last year? Who's your goal kicker this season?
The backs tend to change it around, but I think it's been mostly Skibby Bar, our second five. I think our RDO also is going to have training tomorrow. He's going to have the kickers be there early and have a kicking competition to see who'll be the goal kicker this Saturday. So yeah, yeah.
Very good. So season 2022 start off with a hiss and a roar round one against the Axemen. What new talent have the Magpies brought into the polo ground this year? What new players have you got?
So we have Dominic Wolfetti from OBU, who's been he's put a bit of impact, put a lot of style into the forward pack. A young leader, and who else? Got some school. Daniel Tafili, who was at X-Men last year, and he managed to get his debut last Saturday against Paraplum. And yeah, quite a few school leavers who are at on the Colts. Yeah, I feel like some of them could make their debuts maybe later on in the season, but just those two I can think of who made their debuts in the last two games. So yeah, they've been good.
Yeah. Oh, Oriental-Rongotai only had him for 2 games last year, but you've got Isaac Braswell back at the Polo Ground. How important is Isaac to Oris this year?
Yeah, Isaac's been he's been great throughout the preseason and in the last two games. He's got a lot high IQ. And there's a lot in the game, and yeah, I watched that game he played in Maris last year. It was he yeah, he's got a good pass. His passes are pretty on point, and yeah, he's good support lines. Just yeah, being massive in the last two games, and probably be massive yeah throughout the season.
Will we find? Well, Fetu Henry, has he officially retired, or is he itching to come back out into the field?
Uh I think yeah, he's officially retired, but not sure. Maybe later on the season he might. But yeah, at this point, just yeah, retired at the moment.
Your debut for Oriental-Rongotai was in 2020, ironically against Parramatta Plimerton. How did you find club rugby and the physicality here in the capital city when you made your debut?
Yeah, yeah, the debut was pretty unreal for me. Getting the call up on Tuesday, I played reserves the game before that, and yeah, the coach and the time told me I was gonna play. Starting at 7, and yeah, I was just shocked. And then the boys are telling me, you won't believe he was number 8, or he'll be number 8, and be playing alongside you. And wasn't until we went onto the pitch, because I was late on Thursday training when they named the team.
Yep.
And yeah, seeing was Artie,
Oh, wow.
number 8. Yeah, made Artie at number 8, and yeah, it was pretty mean. Yeah, pretty mean head up for my debut. Managed to get the win and play alongside myself here.
What advice did Artie give you when you were out there playing alongside him?
Uh, Said just to play my game and just look for the ball. And yeah, he just told me to play my game, I guess.
Now, of course, after playing 26 games, 2020 and 2021, you made the move to Southland, and you played for the Pioneer Club in Gore. What was behind the move down to the bottom of the earth?
One of the boys' agent approached me, see if I was keen to get down south and have a crack. And at first, wasn't too keen, but later on, told myself, why not? Went down south, managed to get. Yeah, I was at the Pioneer Club. Was a main experience there, and I was lucky enough to get a academy contract with Southland Rugby, and I was in that PDU program last year for a season, and yeah, it was a main experience down there.
And how different is the club rugby in Southland compared to Wellington? Because I believe the month of May, there's not much rugby played, but there's a lot of shooting going on.
Yeah, yeah. There's a weekend down there that they put off all rugby down there, and it's dedicated. The weekend is dedicated to duck shooting, which is pretty big down there. And yeah, the hunting culture is pretty big down there. So was lucky enough to experience duck shooting and a bit of hunting, and yeah.
Did you go out duck shooting? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't shoot any ducks, but the boys are just chucking up some bottles, and yeah, I was shooting that instead.
And how did Pioneer go in the Southland competition last year? Where'd you finish up?
On the division that we're in, we finished fourth. We finished fourth. We missed out on the finals. So yeah.
And Pioneer's based in Gore, is that correct?
Yeah.
So did you vote for Ben Bell? Mayor of Gore. Did you vote for Ben Bell for Mayor of Gore?
Oh, oh, I didn't think I was there during that. I don't think I was there during that time to vote, but nah.
Now, one of the interesting things about in Southland is the weather. We have all the wind here in the capital city, but what's it like playing in the middle of winter down there in Southland? What's the weather like?
It's pretty cold down there. I guess minus degrees down there. It was one game. It was snowing a bit. In the game, it was just too cold down there. To play in.
Now, of course, you've come back to Oriental-Rongotai this season. What was behind the move? Did you miss home, or did you want to come back to Wellington and play up here?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I missed the home a bit. Missed home. Yeah, and I think the main reason was for my studies. To come back and finish my studies. Mom kept pushing for me to finish my studies. I was meant to finish last year, but I was doing it part time. But came back this year. Hopefully, it's finishing and continue on with. My mum said I could explore my rugby options.
And what are you studying, Ronaldo? What are you looking at graduating with?
Design innovation, majoring in sexual innovation, and minoring in Samoa.
Oh, fantastic! That's all at Victoria University, is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. So you played with the blind side last weekend. What is your preferred position in the back three at the scrum? Is it the blind side, the open side, or number 8, and why?
To be honest, I'm not too fussed. Don't really mind, but ever since after back in college, I was number 8, and then club rugby wasn't too big, so I got chucked at number 7. But yeah, I've been playing 6 lately. I think that's where the coaches want me, but yeah, don't really mind.
And of course, where did your rugby start? Where did you play your junior rugby?
Played at Oris. Started at the age of 7. And played till under 13s, and then went to played my college years at St. Pat's Town, and then Pioneer for a year, and then Oris.
Of course, the surname Seumanufagai is well known in Wellington rugby, and of course, you've had some cousins also play rugby too. Tell us about particularly Herman, who used to be known as the Smiling Assassin when he was playing on the wing.
Big family. It's quite a few of us. Herman's over in Australia, in Queensland. Playing for Cabbers, I believe. Cabbers. For Feeders Club, for Brisbane Broncos, and now the Dolphins. The Dolphins. Yeah, and he's played for the senior team over there, and he's been playing, been starting regularly for them, and got Jason playing at the club, and my younger brother, who's finished last year, Saliso, who's playing for the Colts.
Oh, very good. Well done. And of course, as you mentioned, you're a product of St. Patrick's College, Wellington. You were there from 2015 to 19, and I did teach you for one of those years, I believe. How did you enjoy your time there at St. Pat's?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it big time. For my 5 years, went in being quiet. Finished school, probably a bit more confident. I enjoy the rugby side of things over there. Managed to play first 15, which was a big goal of mine back in school. I enjoy the um, the education side of it, being in your English classes, watching film, and yeah, just like learning. I love learning. Learning every day. Just could be from whatever. Could be from rugby, school, or even poly. The poly at school was pretty big for me, and just learning more about my culture. And yeah, just overall, I yeah, loved it. That sequence.
And you mentioned about making the first 15. What was the environment like with the first 15, and how was it?
Yeah, it was unreal for me. Making my debut on the first 15. It was a team I always looked up to since young. Um, the coaching staff at the time when I made my debut was Glenn Donaldson and Brendan Reedy. And yeah, my first game when I had my first taste of first 15 rugby, it was yeah, it was a big step from under 15s. Uh, just being real critical in the small things and in the details of things. And then later on with Nganu and Cass, Greg, and all those guys in my last 2 years of first 15 was um, it was a big step in trainings. We had a lot of trainings throughout the week, and just keeping on top of our fitness and having the Broncos in those years. Uh, but yeah, it was a big step, especially with the TV games. It was pretty nerve wracking. How semi-professional the first 15 level has been, and yeah, just been it was a good experience setting me up for club rugby.
How have you, when you mentioned about those TV games and they feel semi-professional, do you see them as a still being an important part of first 15 rugby, or do you think it just puts a bit too much pressure on the players? What's your thoughts?
Uh, yeah, I feel like it's a good way to expose the young players, college kids, uh, and it's I get how it could put the pressure on the kids, but I see it as a challenge,
Hmm.
um, especially for kids that want to pursue rugby professionally. And yes, I just feel like TV games and yeah, just see it as a challenge and like kind of like a practice for yeah, for professional rugby and the setup and just the prep before it and all that. So yeah.
2019, you were given the special title of being named captain of the first 15. How special was that leading out your college into rugby matches, in particular traditionals?
It was an honor. Didn't think I'll get captaincy in my last year. Just because I didn't really talk much, but it was a good challenge. It was a good challenge for me to get out of my comfort zone and to lead the team out that year. We had good young talent coming through that year, so I felt like it was my job just to uh, set a good environment for those young players, as the likes of Sialawaki, Bradley Crichton, Christian Stenhouse, those young dudes back then. Felt like it was important for me to set a good platform for them to continue on in the years that they had left at school. So yeah, felt like yeah, yeah, it was an honor overall.
Oh, fantastic! That's awesome answer. So, well, during that time also, you got to beat Wellington College as captain. You got to beat Wellington College at home, and tell us about that in traditional, because that's sort of the main one out of all the traditionals you play is against Wellington College.
I was lucky enough to win in my last 2 years against Wellington College. It's always tough. The whole week, it's like the pressures, it just builds up till game day. and yeah, it's always tough playing against Dub C. What can I remember from my 2 years? I think in 2018 we had a tough game. Down yellow card, red card, and we had an inspiring captain in that year. His individual performance got us back into the game, Keelan Whitman, and we were lucky to get the win at the end. And in 2019, it felt like it was Herman with his individual performance that got us into the game and managed to get us the win in my last year in 2019.
What was your most famous game that you played in the first 15 outside of probably the Wellington College traditionals?
Oh,
Would it be the one when you beat Scots and about the 75th minute or something?
Yeah, it'll probably be that one. 2018. I believe it was Emin Kyle who scored the winning try. Managed to score. I think we scored 2 tries in the last 5 minutes, and yeah, it was a memorable game.
And have you been made any sort of representative teams? Had any representative honours in your rugby career?
Representative honours. Under 18 Hurricanes. I was in that camp with some of the boys that are playing in the Hurricanes now. Wellington under 19 in 2021. Was with the Southland Weather PDU development squad, the development squad down there for a bit. Yeah, that's all I could think of.
Now, this is a question that's been in the people's minds for the last 24 hours. What's your thoughts about the Hurricanes game being moved to the same time as club rugby on Saturday?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Considering that it's a top of the table clash. Being put at 2:30. Don't know too much about it, like why it's at 2:30. But yeah, it's pretty tough. We might not get too much viewers, considering the club rugby that's on at the time. But yeah, it's not too.
Not too bad, no.
Too much. Yeah.
Now, of course, you've got a tough assignment this coming Saturday. You've got to go over the hill to Wainuiomata at William Jones Park, which is always a tough place to play for any team that's playing against Wainuiomata at home. How is the team preparing for that challenge?
We've looked at the Paraplum game and just took a lot of learnings from that, and just putting that into how we could play our best rugby and seeing what we want to play as a team together, and just taking that into the Wainuiomata game. And these guys are always physical to play against, and just having intent on how we carry the ball and how we beat them in contact. But yeah, just taking the learnings from Paraplum and just working on our game as a team and playing our best rugby as a team against a tough Wainuiomata team.
Ronaldo, it's been awesome having you on the Huddy Hui. It's good to see you back in the capital city, and no doubt, hopefully, we'll see you around the rugby fields this club rugby season.
Cheers! Thanks for having me.
That is Ronaldo Seumanufagai. What a great gentleman he is, and a promising rugby career indeed. And speaking about that, this Saturday, of course, all games are still going ahead at 2:45. And Wainui have Oris at home. That is 4 versus 6 on the table. Marist St. Pat's have their old timers day, and they're playing Northern United. That's 8 versus 9 on the table. Upper Hutt have the X-Men, 2 versus 14. Parramatta Pliberton at home again, this time against Pornicky, who are still chasing for their first win of the season. That is 7 versus 13 on the table. The Johnsonville Hawks narrowly lost to Petone last weekend, but they're at home again against the winless Hutt Old Boys Marist. It's battle between 10 and 12 on the table. Hutt still possibly getting a few players back, but they've got a lot of injuries at the moment. Avalon host Tawa out at Fraser Park, 11 versus 5th on the table. And speaking about top of the table clashes, it's 1 versus 3. OBU, at top of the table at the moment, taking on Petone out at Petone Rec. And that is the Huddy Sports feature game this weekend on Huddy Sports YouTube. Coverage will start at 2:40 p.m. So we look forward to you tuning into that. And hopefully we'll see you at the ground. Yes, we're talking about Petone Rec or all the club rugby grounds, and might be a few yellow seats at the stadium. Who knows? But also on Friday, St. Pat's Silverstream have a traditional against St. Bede's at St. Pat's Silverstream, 12 p.m. St. Bede's took on St. Pat's Town yesterday, and they came away with a victory in that howling wind. And also St. Bernard's took on Maclean's College from Auckland today, and they had a 131 points to 21. So first 15 rugby all starting to happen here in the capital city, and we're looking forward to round 3 action of the Swindale Shield this coming weekend. Tune in for the Huddy Hui next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, same time, and we'll see you then. Ciao for now.